Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Terranova and watched the stars through the main window. His ship was not big or fancy like the warships of other species. It looked simple and plain, just like humans wanted everyone to think they were. The ship moved quietly through space toward Gamma Nexus Station, carrying the most important passenger Jake had ever transported. Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez sat in her quarters reading reports on her tablet. The reports were not good news. 17 human colonies had been attacked in the past 6 months. Thousands of people were dead. Families had been torn apart. Children had lost their parents. The Kreland Empire was responsible for all of it, and they seemed proud of what they had done. Lisa had been trying to make peace with the Krelands for 2 years now. Every meeting was the same. They would demand more territory. They would threaten more attacks. They would laugh at her when she offered compromises. But she kept smiling and kept trying to find a peaceful solution. That was what Earth had told her to do. The Terranova docked at Gamma Nexus 3 hours later. The station was neutral. Ground built by the Galactic Federation for meetings between different species. It was supposed to be a safe place where enemies could talk without fighting. Jake watched through his window as Kreland warships surrounded the station. They were not supposed to bring weapons here, but nobody seemed to care about the rules anymore. Station Commander Alan Brooks met them at the airlock. Alan was an older man with grey hair and tired eyes. He had been running Gamma Nexus for 15 years and had seen many wars start and end. He shook hands with Lisa and Jake, but his face looked worried. The Krelands arrived this morning, Alan said as they walked through the station corridors. They brought 12 warships. War Commander Vexeter is leading their group. He has been making demands since he got here. Lisa nodded. She had dealt with Vexer before. He was cruel and enjoyed causing pain to others. He saw humans as weak because they always tried to talk instead of fight. What kind of demands? She asked. He wants all human colonies in the Outer Rim sectors. Alan replied. He says if humans do not give them up willingly, the Kree will take them by force. He also wants Earth to pay tribute to the Kreland Empire every year. Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept quiet. He was just a ship captain. His job was to fly the ship and protect the ambassador. But it was hard to stay calm when he heard about innocent people being killed. The meeting room was large with a round table in the center. Representatives from 6 different species sat around the table. The Kree had brought 5 delegates, all wearing black armor and carrying weapons. War Commander Vexer sat at the head of their group. He was tall with red skin and sharp teeth. His eyes were cold and mean. Lisa took her seat across from Vexer. She placed her hands on the table and smiled politely. War Commander, thank you for agreeing to meet with us today. I hope we can find a solution that works for everyone. Vexer laughed loudly. The sound echoed through the room and made several other delegates look uncomfortable. Solution. The only solution is your surrender, human. Your species has shown nothing but weakness since you joined the Federation. You talk and talk but never fight. You are like insects that buzz around but cannot sting. We prefer peace to war, Lisa said calmly. Surely there is a way for our species to coexist without violence. Perhaps we could establish trade, agreements or share technology that would benefit both our civilizations. Trade. Vexer stood up and slammed his fist on the table. We do not trade with prey animals. We take what we want. Your colonies burn because you are too weak to stop us. Your people die because you send diplomats instead of soldiers. Jake watched from his position near the wall. His hands were clenched into fists, but he forced himself to stay still. Alan Brooks stood beside him, and Jake could see the older man's jaw was tight with anger. Vexer activated a holographic projector in the center of the table. Images appeared in the air showing burning buildings and destroyed ships. These were scenes from the human colonies that had been attacked. Jake recognized some of the places. He had visited New Phoenix Colony just 2 years ago. Now, it was nothing but ash and rubble. Look at your failures, Vexer said with pleasure in his voice. New Phoenix, Cedar Falls, Riverside Station. All gone, all burned, all conquered. And what did humanity do? They sent more diplomats to beg for mercy. Lisa watched the images without changing her expression. She had seen these pictures before, but they still hurt her heart. Each destroyed building represented lives lost, dreams ended, futures stolen. But she continued to smile and speak in a calm voice. These attacks were unprovoked and unnecessary, she said. The colonies you destroyed were peaceful farming communities. They had no weapons, no military installations. They posed no threat to the Kreland Empire. That is exactly why they were easy to destroy, Vexa replied. Weak creatures deserve to be eliminated. The strong rule the galaxy and the weak serve or die. This is the natural order of things. Other delegates around the table shifted uncomfortably. Even species that were not friendly with humans seemed disturbed by Vex's casual talk of murder. But nobody spoke up to challenge him. The Kreland Empire was powerful and most species were afraid of making them angry. Lisa opened a folder and pulled out several documents. I have prepared a proposal that I believe addresses your concerns while protecting human interests. We are willing to negotiate mining rights in 3 systems, establish joint research facilities and provide agricultural technology that could help feed your growing population. Vexa swept the documents off the table with his arm. The papers scattered across the floor. We do not want your charity, human. We want your submission. You will surrender all Outer Rim territories to the Kreland Empire within 30 days or we will take them by force. You will also begin paying tribute of 1 million credits per month to show your acceptance of Kreland's superiority. That is unacceptable, Lisa said, still maintaining her calm tone. Those territories contain millions of human civilians. We cannot simply abandon them. Then they will die with their colonies. Bishar said with a smile that showed his sharp teeth. Just like the others did. Your choice is simple, Ambassador. Surrender or watch your species burn. The room fell silent. Jake could hear his own heartbeat in his ears. Alan Brooks had gone pale and was staring at the floor. The other delegates looked scared and uncomfortable. Lisa stood up slowly. She gathered the scattered documents from the floor and placed them back in her folder. When she spoke, her voice was still polite. But something had changed in her eyes. War Commander Vexeter. I came here hoping to find a peaceful resolution to this conflict. I offered reasonable compromises and tried to address your concerns. But you have made it clear that you are not interested in peace. You want only conquest and destruction. Finally, the human shows some backbone. Vexa laughed. But it is too late. Your weakness has already sealed your fate. Lisa reached into her jacket and pulled out a small communication device. She pressed a button and spoke clearly into it. Control, this is Ambassador Rodriguez. Authorization code Alpha 77 Charlie. Protocol 7 is authorized. Repeat, Protocol 7 is authorized. A voice crackled back through the device. Confirmed. Ambassador. Protocol 7 is now active. Earth Command acknowledges. Vexa looked confused. What game are you playing now, human? Lisa smiled, but this time it was different. This smile was not polite or diplomatic. It was the smile of someone who had just made a very important decision. No game, War Commander. That was Earth's final attempt at courtesy. You have made your choice, and now we will make ours. 3 days after the failed meeting at Gamma Nexus, War Commander Vexa felt very pleased with himself. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching his attack fleet move toward the human colony of New Dallas. 57 Kreland warships flew in perfect formation through space. It was more than enough firepower to destroy any human settlement. Target confirmed ahead. War Commander reported his weapons officer. New Dallas colony. Population 43,000 humans. Our sensors show basic farming equipment and civilian structures. No military installations detected. Vexeter smiled with satisfaction. This would be easy, just like all the other human colonies they had attacked. The humans would send distress signals asking for help that would never come. They would beg for mercy that he would not give. Then their homes would burn and their people would die. On the surface of New Dallas, Colonel Sam Turner watched the approaching Kreland fleet through his command sense main screen. Sam was a quiet man in his 50s with grey hair and steady hands. The other colonists thought he was just another farmer who had retired to the Outer Rim for a peaceful life. They had no idea what he really was. Sir Kryn attack fleet dropping out of hyperspace. reported Lieutenant Casey Morgan from her position at the communications console. Casey looked young and innocent, like a farm girl who had never seen combat. But her fingers moved. Across the control panel with the skill of a trained military operator. How many ships? Sam asked calmly. 7 warships, mostly heavy cruisers and destroyers. They are moving into attack. Formation. Sam nodded and pressed a button on his chair. Throughout the colony, hidden speakers came to life with his voice. Attention all residents. This is Colonel Turner. Please move to your assigned positions immediately. Operation Harvest Moon is now active. Across New Dallas, something remarkable began to happen. Farmers put down their tools and opened hidden weapon lockers. Tractors and harvesting machines transformed into armored vehicles with mounted guns. Grain silos split open to reveal missile launchers. What had looked like a peaceful farming community revealed itself as something very different. Martha Collins had been tending her vegetable garden when the alarm sounded. She was 62 years old with kind eyes and gentle hands. Her neighbors knew her as the woman who grew the best tomatoes on the planet. They did not know she had spent 20 years as a demolitions expert in the Earth Defense Corps. Martha walked to her barn and pressed her hand against a hidden scanner. The wooden walls slid away to show a command center filled with advanced military equipment. She sat down at the main console and began typing commands with practiced ease. Perimeter defense grid online, she announced into her headset. All weapon systems armed and ready. In the skies above New Dallas, the Kron fleet moved closer to the planet. Vexer expected to see panicked civilians running in fear. Instead, his sensors began picking up energy signatures that should not exist. On a farming world. War Commander, I am detecting unusual power readings from the surface. His sensor operator reported with confusion in his voice. The energy levels are much higher than expected for a civilian colony. Probably just their generators powering up, Vexer said dismissively. Humans always waste energy on pointless things. Begin the attack. The Kreland ships opened fire with their plasma cannons. Bright beams of deadly energy streaked down toward the colony. But instead of hitting helpless buildings, the beams struck powerful energy shields that flared to life around the entire settlement. Impossible, Vexer whispered as he watched his weapons have no effect. How do they have military-grade shielding? His answer came in the form of missile launchers from the planet's surface. Hundreds of advanced rockets shot up from concealed positions all around New Dallas. These were not simple defensive weapons. They were ship-killer missiles with targeting. Systems more advanced than anything the Krelands had seen before. Evasive maneuvers, Vexer shouted. But it was too late. The missiles moved too fast and were too smart to be avoided. They struck the Krelan ships with devastating accuracy. In less than 3 minutes, 26 warships were destroyed or crippled. Colonel Turner watched the battle from his command center with no emotion on his face. This was not his first space battle, and it would not be his last. He had fought in wars that the galaxy had never heard about, using weapons that officially did not exist. Sir, the remaining Kreland ships are trying to retreat, Lieutenant Morgan reported. Negative, Sam replied calmly. No survivors. We cannot let them report what they have seen here. More missiles launched from the planet. These were even faster than the first wave. They chased down the fleeing Kreland ships and destroyed them one by one. Within 10 minutes of starting their attack, Vexer's entire fleet was nothing but burning wreckage floating in space. The news of the New Dallas battle spread quickly. Through the Galactic Federation's communication networks, Admiral Kate Phillips sat in her office on Lunar Base, reading the reports with a slight smile on her face. Kate was the head of Human Fleet Command, but most of the galaxy thought she commanded only a few dozen outdated ships. Her communication system chimed with an incoming message from the Altarian Council. The Altarians were longtime allies of humanity and had been worried about the Kryn attacks. Admiral Phillips, we have received disturbing reports about the engagement at New Dallas, said Councillor Zarath, her blue skin showing concern. How did a farming colony defeat an entire Kreland battle fleet? Kate maintained the same diplomatic smile that humans had been using for decades. Better resource allocation, Councillor. We decided to invest more in planetary defense systems for our Outer Rim colonies. It seems the investment paid off. but our sensors detected weapon signatures that match military-grade arsenals. The energy readings were off the charts. That level of firepower should be impossible for a civilian settlement. I assure you, everything we did was within Federation guidelines for colonial defense. Kate replied smoothly. Perhaps the Krelan simply underestimated human determination to protect our families. On the Krelan home world, war leader Supreme Cole received the news of his fleet destruction with rage and disbelief. He had expected Vexor to return with news of another easy victory. Instead, his subordinate was dead and 57 ships were lost. How is this possible? He roared at his intelligence officers. Our report said the humans were weak. They have no real military. They spend their time farming and writing poetry. Sir, we are reviewing all our intelligence on human capabilities, replied his chief analyst nervously. It appears our information may have been incomplete. Catland, his fist on his desk hard enough to crack the metal surface. The humans had made him look like a fool. They had destroyed his ships and killed his warriors. This could not stand. His reputation as a conqueror was at stake. Prepare the third battle group, he ordered. 150 ships. We will attack their research station at Kepler. If they want to play games with hidden weapons, we will show them what real military power looks like. Back on New Dallas, life was returning to normal. The weapon systems were hidden again. The shields were powered down, and the farmers went back to tending their crops. Martha Collins was back in her garden, watering her tomatoes as if nothing had happened. But in a secure communication room beneath the colony's main building, Colonel Turner was having a very different conversation. He was speaking directly with Earth Command, using a quantum communication link that could not be intercepted. Sir, the Krelands took the bait perfectly, he reported to the figure on his screen. They attacked with standard force levels and tactics. We eliminated them without revealing our full capabilities. Excellent work, Colonel, came the reply. Intelligence suggests they will escalate with their next attack. Are you prepared for Phase 2? Sam Turner allowed himself a small smile. Sir, we have been preparing for this for over a century. The galaxy is about to learn what humans are really capable of when we stop being polite. The communication ended and Sam walked outside to look up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Kreland Empire was planning their next attack. They thought they had learned something about human capabilities from the battle at New Dallas. They were wrong. They had only seen the very tip of a very large iceberg. The mask was beginning to slip. But humanity was not ready to show their true face just yet. There were still lessons to teach. And the Krelands were eager students, even if they did not know it yet. War Leader Supreme Crackle stood in his command center, staring at the tactical display, showing 150 of his best warships. The third battle group was the pride of the Kreland Empire. These ships had conquered 12 star systems and destroyed hundreds of enemy vessels. Surely they would be enough to crush whatever trick the humans had used at New Dallas. Target acquired War Leader, reported his navigation officer. Kepler Station is directly ahead. Our intelligence shows it is a small research facility with maybe 2,000 humans aboard. KTL smiled with his sharp teeth showing. Good. We will make an example of this place. Record everything so the galaxy can see what happens to those who resist the Kreland Empire. The massive Kreland fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. What they expected to see was a small space station, surrounded by a few defensive satellites. What they actually saw made several officers gasp in surprise. Kepler Station was not small. It was enormous, easily the size of a small moon. Weapons platforms surrounded it like a deadly cloud. Energy readings from the station showed power levels that should have been impossible for a simple research facility. Sir, this does not match our intelligence reports, said the sensor operator with worry in his voice. The station is 10 times larger than expected, and I am reading Militarira weapons throughout the structure. Before Crackle could respond, a communication signal came from the station. The main screen showed a human woman in a military uniform. She had short brown hair and calm eyes that seemed to look right through him. I am Commander Susan Blake of Kepler Defense Station, she said in a steady voice. You are entering human territory without permission. You have 30 seconds to reverse course and leave this system. Immediately. Kreland laughed loudly. You dare threaten the third battle group with your pathetic station? We have 150 warships. You are just another human colony that thinks hiding behind walls will save you. Commander Blake did not change her expression. You have been warned. What happens next is your choice. The communication ended. Crackle turned to his weapons officer. Destroy that station. Show them the power of the Kreland Empire. The third battle group opened fire with everything they had. Plasma cannons, missile launchers, and energy beams all focused on Kepler Station. The amount of firepower was enough to crack a planet. But when the light from the explosions faded, the station was still there. Its shields had absorbed the entire attack without even flickering. Impossible, Kreland whispered. Nothing can withstand that much firepower. His answer came from the station itself. Weapon ports opened all along its hull, revealing cannons that were larger than most Kreland ships. The first shot from Kepler Station punched straight through Threy.